Not your standard barista competition. We're drinking coffee with Steve Maloney today, founder of the Barista League and Nordic Coffee Fest. And please, stop whatever you do and listen to this conversation today. Coffee events, game changes, sustainability, visions, and much more that cannot fit in a simple description. Today's episode is a real-life discussion over coffee. Welcome.
Hi, I'm Artemis, and you're listening to Coffee Stain, a podcast full of real people stories, knowledge, and much inspiration about and beyond coffee. Personal and business stories full of passion, persistence, creativity, goals, and action. So get your coffee ready and join us.
Hello today. I'm very, very happy today that I have in Coffee Stain Steve Maloney. Welcome, Steve. And I'm so happy seeing you and really happy that we will discuss together today.
Thank you so much for having me. It's great to see you again.
Yes, it's good to see you too. Steve, I would like to tell us a little some things about you for the people that listen to us to know who you are. Forgive me because I have it has been a long time since I did a podcast in English. The last year I only do it in Greek, so today I'm a little bit anxious, but I will make it through, I believe.
You're doing great. So yeah, a little bit about me. I come from Australia originally, but I've been living in Sweden for about, coming up on 14, 15 years. And my background when I was living in Australia was in music and producing, doing production management for different sorts of music events and theatre events and festivals and stuff. But when I moved to Sweden, I couldn't get a job doing that. So I started working in coffee and then fell in love with the coffee industry, basically. Just had an opportunity to learn more about specialty coffee. And over the next few years, I kind of nerded out on that and started competing. And I competed in the Swedish Nationals and won that in 2016 and 2017. And then got a chance to compete at the World Championships in Dublin and Seoul. And then around that time, I started thinking about how I could do a little bit more of what I used to love to do, which is kind of produce events and produce experiences and production management. And I created the Barista League in 2015 at that stage. And so now it's 10 years later, and I run a company that produces coffee events, including the Barista League and Nordic Coffee Fest.
Of course, Barista League is the place that we met this year, 1 month ago almost, in Prague. It was my first time experiencing the Barista League. I was really, really impressed, and I loved it. And I would like to share to the people that hear us that I met you there. I talked to you there for a long time, but I didn't know that you were the founder of the Barista League. That was so embarrassing for me when I returned and I realized who I was talking to. And I said I will come back, and now I will ask you many, many questions. So one of these is, tell us how you created Barista League, because it's different to think of something and it's different to make it happen and last for 10 years, and hopefully it will last for more. I know that you said that you're a doer, a person that is loves to do things, not just thinking about things. So tell us a little bit about this path of Barista League and the Nordic Coffee Fest.
Sure. So when we produce things, or when we're going to spend this much energy on things or an event or whatever, I always like to start with the why behind it. So if you know why you're doing something, it's much easier to then actually deliver on that. And it helps you guide your decisions. So from Barista League's point of view, I was a poor barista trying to compete, trying to learn more about coffee competitions. I was seeing all this cool stuff happening in the world of coffee, people traveling to Colombia and Guatemala and trade shows and coffee competitions. And I was just making sandwiches and coffee. And I worked in a great cafe. I loved it, had amazing customers. But I wasn't getting to do any of the fun stuff that I thought was out there in the coffee industry. And I had no way to access it, no way to afford it, no idea of how to do it. So there was this kind of frustration in me that there should be an event that's actually for baristas, something where a barista can walk out of their shift and go straight into the event, win, lose, compete, volunteer, just attend and have a good time and walk away with something more than what they started with. So back in 2015, there was like really big competitions like the national championships and the world championships, and then there's kind of nothing all the way down to local latte art throwdowns. And they're great for building community, but they tended to be kind of a bit haphazard, maybe a bit loose, maybe a bit drunk, a bit broy in some countries. So the Barista League was meant to be something a bit more fun, a bit more engaging, and something really tailored to what baristas do, which is like, what are their skills? What time can they actually come to events? What's the price point for events? Like $0. And just try to make an event that was actually for baristas and was actually fun. So at that stage, it was really just about, it needs to be accessible, it needs to be light, it needs to be easy, no commitment to training. There's drinks to drink, there's food to eat, there's music, there's great people, and it's just one night. So you just come in, have a great time, and you leave. And hopefully you've met some people, you've learned something, you've had a good time, and, we're a better group of people from it.
That is a great concept. How people reacted to this the first time?
The very first time I poured, maybe a lot of people can understand this, like when you throw a party or a wedding or something, like you pour your soul into producing something. So I was going around to every single coffee shop in the whole area in Sweden and just like, you need to come, and really like selling this thing so that I could get people to come for free beer, free competition, all this kind of stuff. And people came, like maybe 60, 70 people came, but I put so much effort in that I still felt like so deflated after, just like, oh, that was so much work. But people did really have a good time, and they wanted it again. And so after we kind of decided, oh yeah, we're going to do it again, and we're going to do one in Helsingborg, and we're going to travel this up to Gothenburg because people wanted to do it. I started thinking about, okay, well, my goal is basically just to make sure that everyone who comes wants to come back, every single person. So if we do that, we don't have to grow from like 70 people to 10,000 in a year, but we're never going to slow down, because as long as everybody who comes enjoys it and wants to come back, we're just going to keep growing. And that was really like the first 3-4 years of just people heard about it in other parts of Sweden, and then in Oslo, and then in Germany, and in Copenhagen. And we started kind of touring this concept around. And as I said, there wasn't really anything like it at that time. There weren't any Oatly parties. There weren't any people doing anything else except latte art throwdown. So if you didn't like latte art, there was nothing between that and then spending 7 months and lots of money training. So this kind of filled this gap of just like, it's fun, it brings the community together, but it's still actually a coffee event. It's not just get hammered and pour latte art and then go home.
Mm-hmm. How did the people around you, family, friends, relatives, whatever, felt when if you told them this idea?
Well, I think the first few years, like all from 2015 through to 2018, 2019, it was just a hobby project. So I was like living by myself in Sweden, and I was, 25, 26, and just using the Barista League to travel and get to meet people in the coffee industry. So part of it for me at that stage was like, I want to go to Berlin and see coffee people in Berlin, Helsinki, and Oslo. And I want to be able to call up people like, Joanna from Drop Coffee or Tim from Tim Wendelbo and just have an opportunity or reason to talk to them. So it was about building a network and traveling around. And for the first few years, it was just kind of fun. Like, I know how to produce events. I know how to do them super light, like DIY kind of punk vibes. And it was just, Stephen's going to go to Helsinki and we're going to have a big coffee party, and then he's going to come back. And it was something that I did like after work in my spare time on my phone, just trying to hustle and make it happen. So I don't know if anyone really took it seriously, even through to like only a couple of years ago when people were still like, oh, that's just like a nice little party, or that's a little side project. But in 2018, I finished off my job that I was working at as a barista. I didn't want to do that anymore. And I kind of had some opportunities of like, do I work for this bigger company or do I just go for Barista League? So I did that. And even then it was still like kind of a hobby business. Like we weren't really making any money. We were just surviving, doing something cool and traveling and building something. So I would say that until like 2 years ago, I don't think anyone really thought it was a business. They just thought I was just playing around with something. So, yeah.
But now it is a business. It is a really beautiful business. And I'm sure that people around the world know Barista League and know the work that you do. And if they have participated, they can understand all the organization, all the feeling, everything. So now, what do they say about it? Well done, Steve, or
all my family and stuff, my friends and family.
Everyone, the world. What do they say about Barista League? What is it, Barista League, for them, not for you?
That's a really good question. I think it's a bit different for everybody. I think a lot of people see it as it seems fun and they don't quite understand it. And so the people who've been tend to get it because they understand it's not a trade show. It's not a coffee festival. It's not a little tiny party, and it's not a giant, like, flashy thing. It sits in this space where it's like a comfortable coffee network that's kind of, I don't know. It's also that it changes so much. So I don't really know what people think it is. I think maybe that it's a fun, I hope people think that it's a fun, cool event, an event that you want to be a part of.
Yes, I think it is. I think it is. And as you said before we met in Prague, before I come there, you said that you have to be there. And to be honest, I understood that it was something that I had to be there in order to understand what it is.
I can almost say something about that because I think when you have something new, like people really don't quite understand. They just want to compare it to something else. And so it has taken a lot of years. I spent the first 5 years just trying to explain what it is that, like, if we talk about, bigger companies who want to be a part of smaller or bigger events, you have a conception of what is successful or what is not successful. But I've always, or like what generates return, let's say. And I've always tried to convince people that the baristas that we bring, the people that we bring to our events, they are the leaders who are already changing the industry or will change the industry. So, like, I had the feedback I had in the early years was like, oh, it's just baristas, it's just local baristas from, Gothenburg. Like, yeah, but they're the ones who will, like, within 1 or 2 years, because our industry changes so quickly, they're the ones who will be like the super world famous, the ones who own roasteries, the one who work for green importers. And now, 10 years later, it's fun because I can look back and say the people who competed in 2017 in Berlin, out of that group, one is a marketing manager for a global company, one is a 2-time SIGS champion, another runs a coffee roastery, another runs a coffee roastery, another runs a coffee roastery. So, like, out of a group of 20 people, 15 of them are like superstars, like coffee superstars. And then that's the same for all of our events. And this is what I've been trying to say to people. It's like the relationships that we made between ourselves and they made with each other and they made with the people who are in that room are like the real things that makes our industry so exciting. It's not transactional in the same way that other industries are. So it really is about building these relationships with people. And so, yeah, I think that's kind of part of the thing that I've tried to create is that you actually have an opportunity in that room to meet everybody and feel comfortable talking to someone you feel is like an idol for you or someone who is just a new barista who wants to learn. And together we're all going to be doing this thing together.
Seeing you and talking about this, I feel that you feel very proud for the people that the barista that took part there in Barista League so many years ago, what they achieved in the years to come. And it shows that in your face, in your smile. People cannot see it, but I can. Yeah. It's very important feeling to create something different and to try to explain it to the world around. And then to see that through this view of yours, through your vision, let's say, and your dream, other people made the leap to create beautiful things afterwards. So this is great.
I think like when you're in your early 20s or your mid 20s and you're in a company where you feel like you can't quite advance, you get kind of stuck in this place where you care so much about coffee and you want to do more, and you see just maybe as a young stupid person, you're like, why are they doing this so badly? Why can it not be better? And I think that drove us a lot with like, these events can be more fun, they can be more accessible, they can be more interesting. And for those people that I'm talking about, like these people that I've met 10 years ago, we all had those same things where we'd sit after a trade show and drink beers together and talk about like what is going on here? This problem can be solved, or like this is so frustrating. And so to see all of them step like higher up the career ladder, and now we get to start making those impacts and changes that we talked about back then, I think that's what I get really excited about. And I hope that our competitors nowadays are feeling that same thing of like, they should be pushing us and they should be pushing the industry forward to say like, guys, like, yeah, it's not 2015 anymore. It's 2026, like next year. Like we need to focus on this. And so I do want to like keep that, create space for those people to meet each other and get angry or excited or passionate together and like start pushing other people forward.
Mm-hmm. One of the things that is in my mind for many, many years, but especially these last 2 years, that I was involved in the IWCA that we created here in Greece, was that, as you mentioned, that it's very important and our opinions are alike in this field, is that most of the people, even if they are in the coffee industry or not, they think that the barista is all that coffee industry is about. And because I am in the coffee industry, but in a different field of production, of machine production, I'm trying to share to the people that there are so many options, so many niches to reach and to work at, and still be in the coffee industry. So I think that this is very important thing to share to the people around there, everywhere. What do you say about that?
No, I agree. I think it's also something that it's exciting to see change in that or when I was a barista, it really was about barista and roaster. And then there was like some slight discussions around like the producing side or maybe green trading. Whereas as the industry kind of grows out a bit and becomes more maybe mature in certain ways, I think it's really exciting to see people who create their own, consulting agencies just focusing on marketing for the coffee industry, or event agencies, or photographers, or social media people, or products. And that there is it's such a wide and deep industry that there really is a lot of space. So anytime people talk more about that or show young, passionate coffee people, they don't just have to be serving coffee and then roasting coffee. There's so many other things you can do. I think that's super exciting. And I think it's becoming more prevalent these days. So it's more slightly more accessible or slightly more visible.
Probably now that the internet and everyone is online 24/7, I think that they can see more things and can understand more. Do you think that in the competition, in the Barista League, that you offer this view to the people, to the barista that come as barista to compete, to understand this whole industry option?
Yeah, so we're in a bit of a transition phase with the competition right now because, like as I said, back in the day, the whole point of the Barista League was not really to compete. It was to just get people in a room to meet each other and connect.
To interact, yes.
Yeah, exactly. So like the rules weren't that important. The judges weren't it wasn't really about the competition. So we used to say it's a competition, it's a party disguised as a competition. And it still is a bit of a party. It's still nice. It's still, we've got the food, the drinks, the music, the nice people, the nice lights. But I think the industry is changing and there isn't a space, as you say, for people to have a platform to say things that can push the industry forward. So we're looking at like this year, next year, the following year is like what can we do to use our platform and create a platform for young baristas who have something to say, whether it's about green trading, sustainability, coffee experience, coffee drinks, really anything at all, and give them a space to come up and show that. And if you think about what exists right now in the world of coffee, you have the old school competitions where it's like quite rigid and quite strict. And then you have coming kind of down to World AeroPress and Barista League, and then it goes down to local competitions. But there's nothing that kind of blends that entertaining and kind of space for people to both show their skills and also kind of show something beyond that. And if you think about other industries, like think about what MasterChef did for cooking, you know?
Yes.
And they're not only showing like inspiring people and showing off new techniques and new cuisines and new like dishes and personalities, but also points of view on how you should kind of approach food, or like they've created this kind of set of superstars out of that. So I think there's this space in the coffee industry right now that's a bit missing, that we can, create a platform for people to show more than just this is what an espresso is, but more like wider context in the industry.
Now that you're talking about this shift that needs to be made, could we say that your why is changing?
I think a little bit, yeah. I mean,
not the core values, but the why is a little bit advanced now, let's say.
Yeah, and I think that's a bit natural. Like if you think about a company, like if you make a product in 2015 and then it's unlikely you can just have the exact same product. Like you can't sell the iPhone 1 today. It's not relevant to the industry or where we are in the world. So the Barista League of 2015 really caught on because there was a big hole missing for that type of event. And I think now, like, it's time for Barista League to fill a slightly different hole in the market. Like, we've grown, the industry's changed. There's different ways to become famous in coffee that isn't just winning the WBC. We have TikTokers and Instagrammers and YouTubers who are far more famous than the winners of a competition these days. So we have seen that, and we see that, and it takes a little while to kind of turn people's perception of a product or an event. So I think our core why is to create events that make the industry better. And we just need to shift the competition a little bit, or the perception of the competition a bit, so that it can fill a different gap that there was in 2015.
I'm sure that you will do this. I'm really sure that you will.
As you said, if you know your why. Oh, no. I mean, like, if you know what your why is and you're committed to doing it, then I don't see there's any reason why we can't, because it's not that difficult to do events. Like, we know what we're doing. So it's just like actually knowing why we're doing it and then going, okay, we're going to do this now. So we're all super excited because we're looking like 2 years ahead, a year and a half ahead. I mean, like, this is going to be absolutely insane. It's going to be very, very cool.
But now that you say that if you know your why, it's very easy to move on. But why is it so difficult for people in our days to find this why? A difficult question, I know, but you see it, I see it, we all see it every day. And if we can talk about internet and social media, if we put it in the game again, everybody is talking about this why. That means that there is a problem between us, among us, that we don't know our why. We cannot find it. It's blur. What do you think about this?
I'm not sure. I mean, don't you think that it's a little bit like there's kind of layers of why? Like, you might have your professional why or your personal why, and sometimes they align and sometimes they don't. So for some people, if we're talking about being in the coffee industry, there might be like a strong why, which is like, I want to change the world, or I want to, blow people's minds, or I want to make the best coffee in the world. Or it could just be, I want to have a sustainable life. and I want to work in coffee. And so it doesn't necessarily I'm thinking it doesn't necessarily translate into the product you make or the coffee that you sell or whatever. Sometimes it might just be, listen, I love coffee. I love the people around me, and I want to have like maybe this is actually explaining why, but like, I don't know, maybe it's just, I don't know how people can find it, to be honest. Try to be honest with themselves.
Yes, it is like the question that everybody is asking: what does success looks like to you? Because for everyone is different. So the why is different. It depends on from which angle you can see it.
Yeah, and maybe we're getting a little bit existential. Like, why are we here on Earth? What are we doing with our time?
Yes,
But,
that would be very, very difficult. No,
yeah.
we won't ask something like that. No.
But I mean, if you kind of take it in like really close into like professionalism, like to your professional life, sorry, and you look at like, why are you creating this event? Why are you creating this product? Or why are you building a roastery or a cafe? Like, what's the point of it? Who are you doing it for? And what's the point? Like, what are you trying to achieve? And I think it's fine for that to be, in some cases, like, hey, this is a business. We're here to make money. And I think there's like a honesty to that versus always trying to, like, I think some people maybe it feels a bit disingenuous sometimes when it's like, oh, we're on a mission to change the world. We're here to disrupt, blah, 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 blah. Yeah, but are you? Like, so then,
yes,
I don't know.
I totally understand this.
Yeah.
Because it has been so much talking about mission. So automatically, for me, that I'm not a native English speaker, the mission is a very hard word. So when they're talking about mission, maybe they should cover that, yes, it is business. I have to earn some money. I have to leave me, my family, and to grow and to create as much as I'm able to, I'm capable of. So maybe this word mission is too hard to have it inside and to share it with the people.
Yeah. And I think like when you have an industry of people like in coffee where people actually do care a lot about the people around them and the product and the delivery, like we're not selling like screws, you know, like maybe I'm being mean to screw companies, but it's hard to get.
Because if the screw is not good, you will have a great problem.
Absolutely. So yeah, maybe I'm being unfair, but people really
no, I understand. Don't worry.
Really do care about coffee. So everybody has this kind of mission about we're here to help the farmers. We're here to whatever make the best coffee in the world. So maybe it gets like a bit diluted if everybody has a mission and everyone's saying that same kind of type of mission. Then it feels like, but really. Like you kind of like have to take that away from the picture and say, well, okay, but everyone's doing this. So what makes you different? Or like what really drives you? I don't know. I don't know.
So now that we're talking about mission, vision, and all these branding thing, what is your favorite business book? Let's say a business in quotes. What is one of your favorite books that talks about these things? That's an outsider question, but it came to me right now.
Okay.
Or author, whatever.
Author. I don't know. I dip in and out of like business books. You know what I like to read is the kind of big failure stories of like, have you read the books like about Enron failing or I think it's called the one about Elizabeth Holmes, who had the company.
No.
It's basically stories about businesses who kind of either cheat or try to fudge facts or all those types of things. I find that super fascinating to see like people hype up a company so much that it's like, this is going to change the world. And it's like, I don't know how they could possibly do it. And it turns out it's all fake in the end. And then I feel there's like something a bit therapeutic about you when you run a business, you are always comparing yourself to those success stories, right? Like,
yes,
they're so successful, they're making so much money, everyone's so happy, it's running so good, everyone loves them, they're so famous. And sometimes it's nice to be reminded that they didn't start with nothing, and sometimes they ended up in jail because it's really, really hard and everyone fails. And so I think those books sometimes are a little bit therapeutic for me to remind myself that, like, okay, it is like some things are a little bit too good to be true.
But on the other way, I think that you, Steve, are an example for all the baristi that come and know you and know the Barista League and see the work that you and your whole team, of course, have done all these years. So this is an example that you can move forward. Even if you start as a barista, you can go, as was previously said, in other fields and make something that is a success, that is helping people, that is your mission, and at the same time, it is a great business. So how, apart from the competitions, how do you share this to the people, you and the team and all your company?
I think we mostly focus on we're very, very word of mouth driven, because we've never ever had a budget to like spend on advertising. So because the coffee industry is so small, we have really taken advantage of the fact that, like, when something different happens or when something like kind of exciting happens, people will talk about it if it's very good. So I've always tried to produce something that is like so good that it stands out apart from other things that you've been with, so that when people are sitting around a table and like, yeah, what have you been doing recently? Like, oh, you know what I did? I competed in this event and it was so good. It was so much fun. It was like nothing like I've ever done it before. That is the best type of advertising, because it's coming from their mouths. It's advocacy from them. And same with Nordic Coffee Fest. If like we run this festival called Nordic Coffee Fest in the Nordics, and we kind of saw that there was this big hole in the market where there was like, there's no one bringing these amazing people together. So if we just get enough people in a room, we create an experience that they really enjoy, then they're going to talk to people about it. They're going to want to come back and tell people about this thing that we're doing together. Because the event, like if we make a really beautiful event and it's like lights and sound and all that kind of stuff, and it's just me, then that's not good. It's really like, it's about the people that come. So if we get good people, if people show up and they enjoy it and they have a good experience, then that is like the best way for us to spread. And then obviously we try to spread the word as far outside of that as possible. But yeah.
Has Barista League affected other competitions? Have you seen that what you have done have made the other kind of competitions, other organizations think twice what they're doing and maybe think over all their construction and all their organizations?
I don't know exactly. I hope so. I think it would be a bit arrogant to say that like anything that we've done has changed the world or whatever, because there's so many things happening. But we would love to think that we've had an impact. And if people come to an event that is a little bit more fun, they might reflect back on the event that they produced and be like, how can we also kind of make it as fun as this or make it as nice looking? So whether or not we have been the cause of it or just part of it, I think there has been this big change from 2015 to now with this type of like more casual, less like maybe coffee focused events. So there are like, film screenings and community nights and markets and all these types of things that are not just the latte art throwdown. And that's really changed from 2015, whereas now there's so many local events that pop up around the world. So yeah, as I said, whether that's us or it's just a general trend that people saw a need for, I would say that we've had a bit of there's been a bit of a change there.
Also, the importance of the community, because you say this a lot, and I think that it's more after the COVID period. The community is so important, and people to be together and share the same interests or the same path. and you are making, as a Barista League, a change in this field also. There's no question.
Well, I think I don't know if you have you also felt like we've been using the word community for a long time, but especially around COVID, it almost felt like it was the word that everyone uses. Like it almost feels a little bit overused. Like I don't know.
Yes, I did. Yes.
Like, community this, community that. It's like okay. But for us, like this is because we have this opportunity, this incredible opportunity that we get to see what it's like, what the coffee industry or the coffee community is like in Athens or Copenhagen or Sydney or Budapest or whatever. So it has built this kind of philosophy in us that you see when you have this like thriving kind of connection between people, that the whole scene or the whole community in this case kind of lifts up and becomes more innovative, more fast paced, more exciting. It grows quicker. And I think it's part of this like interconnection or competitiveness between people. Like you have this with bands as well. Like if you have 3 or 4 bands in the same group, they all see what each other are doing, and like they did this gig that was so cool. We need to do that. We're a better band, so let's get more lights. Let's do a more awesome show. And then you see that these 3 bands like just all of a sudden get more and more famous, more and more better every time. And now I've gone off track with coffee, but like you see that in like London in 2010 or in Melbourne before that, or in I don't know, Copenhagen 5-6 years ago, that like when you have this mass of people who are all doing things at the same time and are connected because they see each other at the same events, they drink coffee at the same places, they visit each other, they compete against each other. You see this kind of like energy. So whether you call it like we're building community so that everyone can shake hands and give each other hugs, or whether it's about let's get people in a room so they can get inspired and competitive and get like excited and build new partnerships, and you know, maybe they leave one job and they form a new company with someone else that they met at that event. These are things that like are not tangible in the moment, but you see them on a macro perspective, and you see that there's this like absolute excitement. And like you could take that for Athens as well, like maybe a few years ago when you have a bunch of key actors who are all coming from the same place, super closely connected, and everything just like gets hot, you know.
Mm-hmm. Yes, I understand totally. And I see you
gesticulating
yes,
gracefully.
Like, exactly. I have chosen the name Coffee Stain. We have talked about this in Prague, I think, because I think that it's the stain that everyone is leaving behind. So you have talked so much about Barista League, and we can all understand what is the coffee stain that you want to leave behind. But I will ask you, in order to say it in a small little paragraph, what would you answer to this?
I would say that like it seems a little like pithy maybe, but a lot of what drives us is that we want to do like better events, better experiences, because you go to, like, it could be music, it could be a restaurant, it could be a coffee event, and you just feel like this can be better. It can be more accessible. It can look better. It can feel better. It can feel more welcoming. It can be much more sustainable. It can be cleaner. It can be, you know, better. So if we can produce experiences and events that are a little bit better, and then someone goes to that, sees that, and is a bit either inspired or pressured to make their own events a little bit more accessible, a little bit more diverse, a little bit more sustainable, then that's a impact that I would love to say that we've left behind. If people reevaluate how much it costs for a barista to enter a competition and starts questioning, like, should it really cost 600 euros to enter a competition where the minimum wage of barista wage is like $5 an hour? That's insane. Should we really need to spend $150,000 to compete in a coffee competition? That's absolutely manic. You know, do we need to create like absolute container loads of paper cups out of a coffee festival? Like, is that necessary? Is there not a better way to do this? And you come to our event, and you're like, yeah, they didn't do it, so it must be possible. Maybe we can start to think about it. And if we could have a small little impact on some people, then yeah, that would be magical.
You talked about sustainability, and it is a word, it is a meaning that is discussed about
Yeah.
coffee and not about events. Now you put it on the table about events. How can sustainability be present and make a difference in the events? In which way?
Yeah, I think I'll start by saying like there's this we think it's like an existential issue with talking about sustainability at events, because if you get people to come to the event, like unless they're walking there, basically, it is less sustainable to have the event than to not have it. And as the event gets bigger and more people travel from further away, it will never ever be sustainable to have an event. But having said that, once you have that event, if you have it for a reason, let's say we get, these people together and then they leave that event and they change the world. Maybe it was like, okay, you can argue about whether or not it's worth it. But that event can also be more or less impactful after you've decided to actually have it. And I think particularly in coffee, but in events really all over the world, people aren't putting very much thought or energy into how unsustainable they are with the waste that's produced, the electricity that's used, the transport that's brought in. Just, I don't know, there's a lot of things you can do. A lot of things that people aren't doing, I would say, because things have just been done a certain way for a long time. So you don't really evaluate that it's a really terrible way to do it for the environment or for the people around you or whatever.
Your answers are great.
It's quite a big topic. Like we were talking about this at a sustainability kind of meetup in Gothenburg, and it's I think like there was this concern by the people in the room. They all obviously cared about sustainability, that like, but like we're not doing enough, or like if we're not doing it to 1,000% to 100% that it's perfect, then we shouldn't talk about it because people will criticize us. And everyone's saying sustainability, so we don't want to greenwash and stuff. But at the end of the day, like I think that if you're doing something, it's better than doing nothing. And the more people that talk about it, that bring it up, that like make it actually a part of their decision process, then at least that's better. That's better than nothing. So right now, I feel like a lot of people either pretend to care about it but don't actually do anything, or it's not even present at all. So that's why at least we want to push it and talk about it more, because we are not perfect. There's tons of things that we need to do better, but there's other places that are not even a part of the equation. So yeah.
I think in the last episode, on the previous episode here in Coffee Stain, I was talking about how we stopped repairing things.
Mm-hmm. Yeah.
In the coffee industry, the mixer, the espresso machine, whatever. But we have stopped repairing things. The phone is off, we throw the phone.
Yeah.
The shoe is off, we throw the shoe. Everything. It's in our generation. On the other hand, in our parents' and grandparents' generation, they fixed it. They try to see what is going on. We will try to fix it. And I think this is one of the things that are inside the sustainability mindset, that we must start thinking about repairing things and fixing things and starting to use our brain. As you previously said, yes, there are many, many things to do, but we have to think in a different way in order to find some different ways of doing the things that we are so used to do.
Yeah.
So yes, it is a big conversation, this sustainability thing.
Yeah, but one of my, like, kind of related to that, one of my favorite kind of, I don't really know how to explain this, but like I think a reason for a lot of, let's say, bad or unsustainable behavior is because we haven't weighed the real costs of what that decision is. So to produce a product that you actually can repair will cost you more, right? You need better materials. You need to have like access points. Like it's a different product, right? And it's more expensive. Or a T-shirt that lasts longer costs more to produce than a T-shirt that
of course, yes.
But to produce the cheap one, you're not taking into account the human cost, the environmental cost. And if we actually weighed those costs, it would be cheaper to have the good T-shirt or the
good machine.
the repairable machine. So it's only because we count cost as in the dollars on the bill. That's it. And not at all the like negative effects that you've messed up the supply chain, that you've polluted the earth, that you've underpaid people and now they can't live a sustainable life. And if we counted those costs into the cost of a cheap product or a cheap service, then it wouldn't be cheap anymore, you know? So, yeah, I don't know how to solve that except for governments kind of regulating and putting some regulations on things. But I think
I don't agree with this, to be honest. But I think that as in everything in our lives, that it's what Steve will do in his everyday life and what Artemis will do in her everyday life. I think that is going to be that can only be the solution, because how many governments or countries set some rules. If Steve and Artemis cannot understand the importance of having one T-shirt, a good T-shirt that will last for 5 years, and change a T-shirt every 3 months, nothing that any government would try to do will succeed.
Yeah,
that's for sure.
Yeah, of course, I think it's not necessarily about government regulation, but just understanding that there is a cost to that cheap T-shirt that you're not paying for. Like it's like we can take the coffee example. Like when you buy a coffee at a supermarket or a gas station and it costs 10 cents or whatever, someone has paid for that coffee, but it wasn't you. Like it has cost more than 10 cents to get that coffee picked, produced, shipped, roasted, exported, packed, brewed. And it costs more than 10 cents. So somebody's paid, but it wasn't you. And I think that's what I mean is that like it's not clear on the balance statement at the end of that product why it's so cheap. Who has paid for it instead of you?
Yes. So it's all about education. In the end, it's
absolutely.
everything about education. Either it's the sustainability that we talked now, either it's the many options of working careers in the coffee industry, or the way that you can manage and create some events. So we have to educate ourselves every single day in order to get better, whatever we want.
Yeah. And I feel very uneducated to be even talking about any of these things, because it's these are complicated, impossible problems. So as you say, it's only like what we can do in our days that we can really focus on, I guess. Yeah, this is what we do. We try to produce events that get people excited and stay in the coffee industry and push each other to be better. And yeah, I don't know. We're just a little event company. It's kind of meaningless in a certain way, but just try to make experiences that make people's lives and professions a bit better.
Steve, I would like to ask you one last question.
Absolutely.
And it's a simple question that I ask many people here. What does coffee mean to you?
Oh, a simple but a tricky question.
Yes.
What does coffee mean to me? Oh, I need to think about that. Yeah, I don't know. I think maybe I'd say like coffee is kind of like a world within a world. So it's the world that we work in and the world we live in and the people that we work with. And it's also something delicious that we can actually drink. And then there's this world of like sharing coffee with people, or parents, grandparents, or friends. And it feels like this kind of all-encompassing thing that you get to step into every day, or for a moment when you take a coffee with someone. I think that's kind of nice. It's not just it's not just a product or just work. It's like a bit bigger than that. So it's kind of nice.
Thank you very much for your answer.
I've never been asked that before. I'll reflect on that a bit more after this.
Okay, you will. Do you want to share with us the next Barista League events, where will they take place, when, and for the people to know? Of course, I will put a link in the show notes so they will can get in touch with you or see what do you do. So tell us.
So we have, I think, 5 events left this year, 1 in each continent. So we have a Latin American event in Mexico soon, and then Tokyo, Montreal, South Africa, Joburg, and Sydney in Australia. So each year we'll do 1 event in each continent, and then we also have Nordic Coffee Fest, which happens in March every year in Sweden.
And the people can find you in Instagram and in your website. That's
Instagram,
correct.
TikTok, website. Yeah, we're pretty available. So if you want to get involved or you think it's interesting, just look us up, shoot us a message, and yeah.
Great. Steve, thank you very much for being here in Coffee Stain today. It was a pleasure and a privilege to have you here, honestly, and to meet you. And I'm sure that we will meet again live and we will be in touch because now we are part of all this Barista League movement, I will say. And we will be together again soon. Thank you very much.
Thank you so much for having me. This has been super fun. Thank you.
Have a nice day.
Thank you.
Bye-bye. My kisses.